our first, one of our favorite co-hosts of the evening. She doesn't just wait 6 hours between milchigs and fleischigs, but she actually waits 6 days. The only time she has listened to Goyish music was at the audiologist's hearing exam.
And on the way over.
And her shaitel is so long that we consider it a burqa. Ladies and gentlemen, Megan is here.
What an introduction.
Love it. And last time, my villain, the main host here. All right. 6'4". He has been on the Shidduch. He's been on more Shidduch dates than Tiger Woods himself. His black hat at his bar mitzvah was a black cap from the Colorado Rockies picture of 1999. And his favorite Slurpee flavor is unicorn candy, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit different here. So, like, why would you not be open to understanding, where that television is coming from? Is it to escape from from or reminisce on easier times, right? I think the addiction is not allowing yourself to be with the right person and blaming the TV. And you could have such an amazing opportunity to meet someone who might not need the TV. Like, look, they grew up the way they grew up. Those were different times. Right now, it's like there's real separation. You have TV, you don't have TV. But back then, it was like tricky. They used to hire a dean. The yeshivas would hire a dean of television seeking, and they would go into people's houses. Avery, you remember this? And they'd sneak around the house and they'd look for the TV.
Not all the yeshivas. Some of the right wing yeshivas.
It sounds illegal on so many levels.
It so is. I know they would sneak in, but
like through the window with binoculars.
No, but we had in camp. We also had a mashgiach in camp who would go to the bunks and stand outside the bunks and like make sure that kids weren't watching movies, and he used to call Family Guy.
Can you imagine?
Also, just from my own dating experience, I think this is a stereotype, and you guys are guys, so you'll be able to tell me if not. But guys, some of them, it's not that they don't want to watch TV because of the hashkafa, they just do other stuff instead, and they just don't enjoy it. But like they'll tell the shadchan, if she wants to watch a movie, I'll sit down and watch with her. But it's not like on my agenda. Have you had that before with your friends?
What do you mean by that?
As in, they don't watch movies. They don't enjoy it.
Watch, right? They don't
not because of hashkafa, but just because that's not how they spend their time.
That's more me. That's more. But I'll watch football. Like that's a different story.
Oh, so sports
is different.
But Megan
that's a
is
different
also,
religion that I pray to.
Megan
Sundays.
was also saying there
Sunday
that
God.
like how do you know just because a guy's not watching TV and again, we could put this TV thing on the side for now, but someone who's hashkafically not really invested in their investments. And what I mean by that is they're like, they go to Minyan. Yeah, they go to Minyan. They go 3 times a day. There's no connection to God.
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really daven, but you could have someone who is at home, especially after the COVID world. A lot of guys do this now. And like the last thing on my mind I know that I really have control over, the last thing is someone else's hashkafa. I'm more in charge of the way they act. Like I can give hints like, to her, like, wow, like I like when you say these nice things to me, or I like if the way you dress like that, but for like hashkafa, like your connection to God and the way you practice it, it's very far, I
think that's a gender thing though, because for girls, the reason why we care so much about the hashkafa is because this is the person who's going to set the tone of how the Yiddishkeit is going to play out with the kids and how they view Torah and how the home's going to be built. But you guys care more about the smiling and the kindness, which correlates to being a good mother. So if you really think about it, it's just the gender that's how you view the hashkafa.
Gender thing, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I would push back and say there have been dates that I've been on that I literally was like, I'm coming in, can I marry you? Is there potential?
Oh, the girl was doing that.
Well, I was doing that also. And now I take it from a different perspective. Like that's not on my mind and at like the forefront of what my thoughts are. I'm just like feeling the person out. Will it work? Are we okay? Is it comfortable?
Right.
And you can definitely ascertain a plethora of
big word
hashkafic nuances from just one date, one conversation And I don't think it should hold people back. You can get an idea from a resume. But I am very into labels, and I think labeling people has kind of lost its flavor in a sense, because it's important to know where you stand. On my job, at where you are during the day, right? Avery is, like, we're identified. Are you a manager? Are you a director? Are you an intern?
I think
and then from there you do other things.
But I think the label, I don't think they've just gotten blurry.
They've gotten very blurry.
I don't think it's a bad taste. It's blurry.
Yes.
So like what I think is Martin Yeshivish, you might not think it's Martin Yeshivish at all.
Exactly. I think so I would want to identify them also, because you have conservadox, you have
Reform,
they're not even in, like,
they're not in the picture.
We're just talking about, like, Shidduchim, American Jewish dating, Orthodox Jewish, because, like,
there's Orthodox and
not, right, like, unorthodox is great show, and by the way, everyone watch it. Was that the show? I don't know.
No.
A different show.
Horrible show.
Which is the one with your girlfriend Avery?
Don't give them the. Don't put them on air. Don't give them the airtime.
Don't give them the airtime. I agree.
Please.
Basically, you have non-orthodox, maybe you want to say traditional, like, that has all that. But here we're like identifying, like, there is a conservadox branch of Orthodox Jews that are, like, conservative, they're Orthodox, they're mixed things. We have friends who we have friends who eat out dairy, friends who eat out fleischigs, but you wouldn't know they look like a frum guy, and you wouldn't know anything about them. You have modern Orthodox lenient. You have modern Orthodox middle of the road. You have modern Orthodox machmir, and then I'd say you have modern yeshivish. You have
I laugh at the middle of the road people. Like, pick a side. Like, we're like, what are you? Let's make a decision in life.
So I love
what is this,
Avery? I will tell you what it is.
Yeah, go.
There are certain things that you really cannot change at the end of the day. And I remember one of my rebbeim was talking about this, just like every few shiurim he brings it up. And he said, I don't like when the Bachrim use this word. I'm going to say it once just so they know what it is. And the word describes a young Bachur who comes from a more modern, worldly background, and now wants to be frum in the community, and he wants to practice Yiddishkeit. They call him a Harry.
I was going to say it earlier.
You knew it.
I knew Harry. I just learned it.
I love that name, Harry. The Shid baby is going to be named Harry. Like, this is how it is. But yeah, Harry's. I mean, that's at the end of the day, you cannot change. Like, if you are born, there are certain just characteristic traits, physical aspect. I don't know, certain things about a yeshivish person that a modern person, a modernish person, like, just won't have.
Okay.
And I don't know, it's a mix of the hair, it's how you dress, the way you talk, it's the way you think, bunch of things. Priorities for sure. But, like, there's some things you just can't change. And, like, I think in terms of Shidduchim, one of the first things is, like, the resume. Like, you can't change where you went to school.
Right.
Like, as someone who's in his late 20s, I'm dating girls who are, I'm saying not now, but at some point I was dating girls who were still very from Beis Yaakov type, wanted to be really machmir. They identified as, like, modern Orthodox machmir, or even modern, or even yeshivish machmir. And they, like, never went to a Beis Yaakov in their life. And I'm like, how could you do that?
Oh, so they are Harrys.
They're basically
Harriets.
That's what that is.
They're Harriets. Oh, we just made a new term.
Nobody talks Shidduchim. This is the Nobody Talks Shidduchim podcast.